How is it going, everyone? It's Johnny Bead here with another episode of the Streamer Stories podcast. My guest today, I think this is an absolutely wonderful bean. It goes by the name of Curaga. Here they are. Hello. How you doing?
Hello.
It's so good to see you. How
Thank
you
you so much
doing?
for having me.
How are things?
Yeah,
How are
I'm doing well,
things?
thank you.
Ah,
Yeah, things are good. Things are good. It's a nice sunny day outside. Very blessed.
it is. It is. I mean, this goes out. It's always funny when I talk to guests. I'm like, this is a Sunday afternoon. It's not a working weekday at all, is it? But
Definitely not.
no, definitely not at all. God, no. But yeah, it's not bad to have. I mean, I've made the room dark for me, but yeah, I can see
Yeah,
lovely weather on your side, so that's fantastic.
very
And
sunny. Very lovely.
yeah, no, Kiraga, thanks for being on the show. And
Of course.
yeah, do you want to introduce yourself? Introduce to yourself to anyone who doesn't know, who may have discovered you from the
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, my name is Curaga. I like to stream JRPGs mostly, or sometimes even cozy games if the mood takes me. But yeah, I like a very sort of relaxed atmosphere, very chill. Um, I can draw as well. I like to draw. I love my cats. Yeah, animals, games. That's me.
Oh, so many ticks there. There's so many ticks. Art, cats, Final Fantasy. I know we haven't mentioned it yet, but Final Fantasy, JRPGs, tick, 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 tick. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Love it all. Love it all. And you are, I only found you, I discovered you probably about, oh God, about 9 months ago, I think, maybe. Highly recommended by a shout out to Neon Genesis, who was on the podcast recently as well. And,
Yes. Neon
yeah,
is lovely.
absolutely amazing content creator and friend. I'm sure he's great. And yeah, he was like, "Oh, have you ever heard of Curaga?" And I was like, "No." And here you are. I was like, "Yes, yeah, they're great. Absolutely love your stuff. You're so good." So
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
no, honestly. And yeah, again, thanks for being on the podcast, whatever we call it. But yeah, let's talk about childhood though. Let's talk about games you played as a kid. What are like the first? Do you have any like first memories of even seeing a game?
I do, yeah. The first memory and console. Like I first saw my half sisters playing the Sega Master System 2.
Oh, nice!
And my first ever game was Sonic Chaos. That
Wow.
was my first ever game. A platformer, no less. And I remember thinking it was so bright and so colourful. I think that's what drew me into it. Because obviously, when you're a kid, you're sort of drawn to more sort of bright, colourful things that
Yeah.
sort of make you want to interact with it.
Hmm.
Um, I thought the music was really cool. Like I used to bop to it. I was like, yeah, this is good music. I also liked the what was it called? Master of Darkness. That was what it was called. It was like a Dracula game.
Oh.
It was. I had a very strange like introduction to games. I think like no one in my family was really what you would call a gamer. Like my half sisters aren't really gamers. They just kind of played it because it was the thing that people did. They weren't like super into it or anything like that. But yeah, my first memory was definitely with Sonic Chaos and Master of Darkness.
Hmm. And I mean, the Master System is interesting because, especially with Sonic as well. Because if I'm not, I might be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, they ported Sonic onto the Master System after the Mega Drive came out. I think, didn't
I
they?
think so. Yeah, I
So
think
you're
so.
probably quite a late Master System player, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very much a late bloomer when it came to video games because most of my childhood, like, because I was an extremely quiet child, I didn't really like to speak. I wasn't very active physically, or like, I didn't really make a lot of noise. Like, people would frequently forget I was in the room. I was that quiet.
Oh,
And most of my activities were reading or drawing or like crafting something, like making something stuff like that. So
yeah.
my video game introduction was quite late.
Hmm. Yeah, I've never played that Sonic game, by the way. Sonic. I don't know if it's on the newly remastered Sonic Origins because that's got like some Master System / Game Gear games on it. I really need to
Yeah,
check out
yeah.
some of the older / different Sonic games. I love Sonic, but I've never played them on any other console apart from the Mega Drive. So I
Yeah.
need to check that one out. But you are
I
right,
still
though.
actually have my Master System.
Oh,
I still
nice.
have it. It's broken though. I need to fix it.
Oh
I'm
no.
not sure exactly what the problem is. It's the picture and it won't quite function. Like it comes up a bit green. So I need to work out what the issue is and try to fix it
Oh man.
if I can.
Yeah, you are right though about colors. Like again, that was the glaring thing for me playing Sonic. But Sonic was practically my first game as well, but it was on the Mega Drive,
Mm.
and the colors they are like they're so good. And I know the Master System is technically a earlier console, isn't it? But like they looked after the colors, and they stand up so well. No, they
Yeah.
if it was 8-bit or 16-bit, they were so nice. So the colors and the music as well. Sonic music is just is so good.
Yeah.
So.
It's so memorable. Like
Mm.
when you hear a Sonic track, you know it's Sonic. You can just tell it has that vibe to it.
100%, 100%. Massive Darkness. No, never heard of that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm starting to discover my Master System games a bit more now because I'm personally, I'm doing a lot of retro stuff on the channel, on my channel, that is. So I'll
Mm.
have to look out for that one. Master of Darkness. Okay, for some
It's a platformer based on a sort of um oh, what was his name? In the Dracula story, the the normal human guy that goes to Dracula's castle,
Oh,
John
oh,
something.
oh my God! I should know this.
Yeah, I think I should know this name, but it's gone out of my brain.
Oh
It's
no!
John something.
Yeah, yeah,
Harker?
yeah, yeah. I
Is it
think it's Harker. Yeah, Jonathan
is it
Harker or something
Harker?
like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I think it's based on his type of character and he has to go fight Dracula at the end. But there was a really creepy level I remember called the House of Wax. And you went through this level and there were all these wax figures like mannequins and stuff, and they looked like they were just part of the background, but suddenly they would go vroom and fly at you, and that scared me to death.
Oh wow, God.
It was actually really scary for a little kid.
Yeah, I
But it was really good.
I can relate to that. Like there are certain like older games, should we say, that are scary. There's just little ambience, isn't it? They get the ambience right, or little snippets
Yeah.
of sound right.
Yeah,
Like
there's
recent,
something about those old games.
yeah.
There's something about them.
I recently played I play it probably once or twice, as in once a year or 2 years. I absolutely love a game called Revenge of Shinobi. I don't know if you've heard of or played it, but
I've heard of it. I haven't played
it's
it though.
so good. It's one of my favorite Mega Drive games. But like when you get game over, like the evil villain like goes ha ha ha, and it's just that ha ha ha. But
Yeah,
it
it's
just
the creepy laugh.
yeah, it just puts a
It's the
chill
way
down
it
my spine.
sounds.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but they get the ambience right into all the games for sure. Um, but
Mm.
yeah, okay. So that was Mega Drive. So where did you go from Mega Drive? Where did you steer from there?
I went from the Master System to PlayStation. Good
Okay.
old PS1. Yeah. Um, One of my half sister's ex-boyfriends at the time, he had a PlayStation 1 and he had Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, and he didn't like them. So I was just given a PlayStation and those three games, and I'd
No.
never played. Yeah, yeah, I was just given them. I had never played any kind of RPG until that moment, and that was it. I was hooked.
I
I
mean,
was hooked.
that's just the equivalent of someone going, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, yeah. Have I don't know. Have a Mercedes. I don't want it."
Yeah, to my eyes, I was just handed treasure.
Yes.
I was literally just handed a box of treasure, and I was just like, because like I grew up like in a sort of more of a poor household. Like we didn't have much money, so we couldn't just get the latest console whenever we wanted. So to be just given a PlayStation and three games that looked really, really cool, I was just like,
Oh god damn! Like, wow.
it was so great. It was like Christmas, birthday, every holiday wrapped into one for me.
Do they not know what they just did?
No, they really don't. That was the moment my life changed
Oh
forever.
yeah. Fantasy Seven. I mean, we'll talk a lot about Final Fantasy, I'm sure, coming up. But Fantasy Seven, like, it was a
Oh,
landmark
definitely.
title, for me and for you
Yes.
probably, and so
Yeah.
many other people. It
It
really helped
was.
me like to mature as a young person, shall I
Mm,
say? Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, so you had 7, 8, and 9. So did you play them? Did you play them on the spot? Did you play them in that order? What did you do?
I actually played 8 first.
Okay.
8 was the one that I felt most drawn to. When I looked at all three of them, I was like, wow, who are these really cool looking characters? This guy has a scar on his face, like, and there's fire on his sword, and I was like, wow! It just looked so epic, like a fantasy movie or something. And I was like, yes, this is the one. And the second I put that disc in and I saw the opening with like the beach and the Fithos Lusek, Vikos Vinosek and everything, and I was just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
my mind was just blown to pieces. I had never seen anything so beautiful in my whole life as I did that day.
I still maintain
Never.
to this day it's my favorite intro to a game ever. It's not my favorite title,
Same.
but oh, the beginning
Mm.
of 8, it's just S tier. It's just
It's
wow.
beautiful.
It's
Like,
so
and the
nice.
graphics still look well, like, they hold up well, even to this day. Like, you
Mm.
can tell they're PlayStation, obviously, but they still look amazing. Like, the way everybody looks and is dressed, like, the choreography, the music, like, wow.
Mm.
Just wow.
And again, obviously, we won't go too much into the spoiler territory, but like the whole significance
Yeah.
of every single scene in that intro is so important as well.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
know,
and I didn't realize at the time, obviously,
no,
because it was my first time playing, and then later on in life, I realized, oh my god, this points to so many story beats.
yeah,
Like, it shows you everything while showing you nothing.
yeah, yes,
And it's not often that an opening can do that for you, you
mm,
know?
yeah, for sure. Wow, yeah. Goodness me. Okay, so okay, well, I mean, I'm not sure where to go now because I tried to, like when we have like a specialist subject like Final Fantasy or something like that, I tend to kind of push it a bit
Mm.
back. But screw it, we're going to talk about it now. We're there. Let's go. so,
Let's go. Yeah, we're on
uh,
that train.
so okay, we're
No
on that
getting off of
train.
this train we're on.
No, 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 we're not. No. So we're not sure if we're going. We're not sure if we're going to Timber or if we're going to go to Sector 7. Yeah. So let's start with 8 then, because you have mentioned 8 already. So let's talk through that. So did you play that all the way through? Did you get stuck? I mean, 8's a very interesting title as well because obviously with the junction
Yeah.
system and all that stuff. So did you find that confusing?
Yeah.
Talk us through your memories and your playthrough and how it was like.
So I feel like FF8 was probably a very awkward title to have as your first RPG ever
Yeah.
because of the junction system. Like, everyone talks about it and says, oh, it's so complicated, like I don't understand it, or it's awkward, like you can't do much with it. And for me, somehow, I don't know how, kid brain, I guess, I just synced with it. I was like, yes, I understand this perfectly. I get it.
Mm.
You junction magic to your stats become better. You can defend yourself against certain elements if you junction this to this. And it's like, I don't know, I just got it somehow. And which is weird since I was a kid. Like, usually when you're a kid, you don't understand things so well.
Yeah.
But that one, I just understood. And it may have been a very strange choice for a first RPG, but I don't know. I'm really glad it was, because I had such an amazing experience with it. It was, obviously, it didn't come easy. I still had to learn everything, and there were plenty of times that I got stuck. I think the first time I really got stuck was, let me think. I would say probably the I'm trying not to be too spoilery,
Oh, you're
but
fine.
a fight with a fight with a certain sorceress at the
Okay.
end of disc one.
Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That was the first time I was like, what's happening? Because obviously she's quite strong with
Mm.
her spells and such, and I didn't understand everything yet. I didn't understand what all the spells could do. But yeah, I got past that. That wasn't so bad. I think, I didn't get stuck too many times. Like, there was only a couple of times I felt like I got stuck. I'm trying to think of all the bosses and like which ones might have. I think Fujin and Raijin, the first one with them,
Okay, yeah. It's
That was
in
a
Balam.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you have to do it one after the other.
Yeah, yes.
So it's like that was a bit tough, I think, at the time for me. But yeah, like other than that, there wasn't anything. Oh no, actually no, I can think of another one that got me stuck. When you're in space,
Yes. Yes.
you already know what I'm gonna
Well,
say.
it's my mind's going two different things, but yeah, one or the other. We'll find out.
The sorceress in space.
Uh-huh. Which is a weird sentence. Can we just say out of context?
Yeah, out of like I'm trying to be as non-spoilery as
I
I
know,
can
it's
because
great.
I don't want to accidentally give anyone any like
Yeah.
inklings towards things. But yeah, the sorceress in space and the fact that you have to be careful who you target.
Yes. Yes.
That was what got me because my brain didn't think. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just use my strongest spells, my GFs, like boost them to max and then game over. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What happened? Everyone was healthy. Why did I die?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That's a defining moment, isn't it? That's the first boss on disc
Yeah,
4, isn't it? Basically, shall we say? And
yeah,
yeah, I've heard so many stories about that being like the moment people like the quitting moment, shall we say,
yeah.
of many people's Final Fantasy journeys. Yeah, for sure. And those two bosses
That's
that you
that
just
moment,
mentioned,
really.
I
Yeah,
you
like,
might recall I've just done this massive charity event, haven't I, for the Final Fantasy
yes,
Shuffler Challenge,
yes,
and obviously I had I had a low level party, so I was
yeah.
approaching things very differently to how I normally would as an experienced player,
Mm.
and those two bosses got me. Like I struggled with Fusion
Yeah, I'm
Erasure,
not
and I
surprised.
struggled with that sorceress from space. I was like, oh my god, I died like twice, I think, on both of them, and of course, time's ticking on my
Yeah.
challenge. I'm like, oh, come on. So,
Oh no!
so, yeah,
Oh no!
yeah, tough boss, really tough bosses. To be fair.
Mm.
So you played Fantasy 8 all the way through then, and you didn't move on. You didn't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
switch between the three. You played 8, played it all the way through.
No, no. I was literally like, I was hooked to it. Like, I couldn't stop playing. Like, I think I put myself into a really bad sleep pattern because of it, actually.
Yeah.
I was sneaking plays of it, like, in the night when I knew everyone had gone to bed, and I was like, I put the volume really low. Oh, wait. No, actually, I put earphones into my TV because I had one of those CRT VHS
Oh
combinations, you
yeah,
know the
the
ones I mean.
classics. Yes.
The good old silver Goodman's TV, and it had like a little earphone jack in the front of it.
Ah,
So I just
yeah.
put my earphones in. And I was like, hee hee hee. But
Oh
yeah, I didn't veer away from it. I played until it was done, and like because I was just hooked into it.
wow.
I
Oh wow.
think the next one I played was 7 actually. After that,
Okay.
I went backwards.
Yeah. No, I have vivid memories as well. I don't know if your telly was in your bedroom. Mine
Yeah,
was,
yeah, it
yeah.
was.
So yeah, I did the same thing. Not with the headphones, but with the volume. I had it like on
Yeah,
free
you just turn it
volume.
really, really low.
Yeah,
Just
playing games by the telly like that. Yeah.
I'm asleep, sure.
Yeah. Oh, good times. Good times. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, talk us through 7, talk us through 9. If you played them in presumably that order, and yeah, just yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, so 7, I was like, wow, this is dark. That was my first thought was, wow, this is really dark. Like compared to 8, which had not a bright color scheme, but it was a bit lighter in theme, like aesthetically, I mean. Like it had more sort of there was a lot of like a white sort of tone to it because of the garden, like seemed very white. There was a lot of brightness to it. And then I went to 7 and everything was very grunge, like super dark, super dismal looking. You had like the Midgar pan as the intro comes out and it pans out
Yeah.
and you see all of Midgar, like the smoke from the plants and like the not plants. I'm thinking of power plants. I mean like reactor, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Similar thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. But yeah, and you see like the slums on the top of the plates, and it just looks sad.
Yeah.
Like I looked at it, I was
Yeah.
like, this is really sad. Like, and it was quite a maturing moment for me. Like you said earlier, like FF7 helped to mature you a little bit. It was the same with me.
Hmm.
Like, it made me realize like there are some really terrible things going on in the world that are like outside of my control, and seeing it in that format, it was very scary, but I was very hooked at the same time. Like, I was nervous, I was worried about the state of the world in this game, but I wanted to see. Like, I wanted to know what was going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it was very exciting for me.
Okay.
But I feel like, weirdly, the materia system I found harder than the junction system, which is really strange.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I think it was the effects, like having materia effects when I almost said junctioned then. when you have two slots and you put the two materia together and you try and get a certain effect from it. Yeah, like, I think that confused me to a degree because I wasn't sure what would work. Like, what materia combo should I use? Like, why does this work with this, but this doesn't?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are a lot of different things you kind of had to think about with materia, and in a way that made it more complex to my brain.
Yeah.
I don't know why, it's just the way my brain worked, I suppose.
I think, no, to be fair, honestly, no, that you've explained as well, I think most people obviously have gone 7 and 8. A lesser population have gone 8, 7, haven't they? And I think no matter what way you go about it, I think it's just a dramatic change, no matter what. And if you've been used to 8, and most people have been used to 7, then no matter what the switch up is, it's
for sure. Yeah,
what's this?
Exactly.
It's so different.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very drastic change when you go from either one, to be honest. Like, they're very different systems.
Yeah, and the 9 complicates it further again because that's different. This is all to your equipment, isn't it? So
yeah. In a way, though, I feel like 9 was an easier game, I think, because its system was very uncomplicated.
Mm-hmm.
It was very simple. It, like the original Final Fantasies, you just had your equipment, and that's all you really had to worry about, and abilities. That was basically it. So you didn't really have to worry about anything else, like complicated junctioning, like what to junction your magic to, or how to equip your materia, and how to combinate. That's not a word. Combine them.
Yeah, it is now. Combinate. Curaga.
There you go. Copyright. That is my word now. Combinate.
No, but it is. And again, it makes me wonder, like, maybe that was some of the feedback as well to Squaresoft at the time. Whereas because 7 and 8, it's a drastic change. And at 9 and 10, I think, because obviously they were both in development at the same time, weren't they? I think they simplified both, I think, to try and get some of those kinks out of the way, should we say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, it is. So, so favourite moments in 7 and 9?
7, let's see. Favorite moment.
When you say favourite, I mean, you can say memorable, because a certain moment in Final Fantasy 7, it's not exactly, that's my favourite moment, but I mean, it's
the theme is a bit mature, I guess, for like a favourite moment, but
I don't think anyone would go, that's my favourite moment when that happens.
Yeah. What I'm about to say will sound really bad if you say it as a favourite moment, because it sounds really mean, but when you reach the City of the Ancients, that sounds really mean, saying it's a favourite, but...
Oh, I love this bit.
Yeah, I love this bit.
Oh, man, sorry. Yeah.
No, yeah, when you reach the City of the Ancients, I think something I really like is mood sections, like... You know when you hit a place in a game and it's suddenly you feel humbled all of a sudden, or you feel like you need to be quiet, or you need to be respectful towards a particular area in a game. And when I reached the City of the Ancients, I just put my controller down for a second. I remember this very vividly. I put my controller down and I just listened. And that was all I did for about 5 minutes, I think. I just listened to the music because I suddenly felt very overwhelmed and very sad. Like, the music had this mysterious and melancholy feel to it. And I just sat there and I was like, wow, this is really like a place I need to respect. Like, this is history. Like, it would be like walking for example, if you were to go to like the pyramids in Egypt or something, and you see like the tombs that
Yeah.
were there, and you would be quiet because you would think this is a place I should respect. It's a piece of history, like a very significant piece of history, and that's how I felt about the City of the Ancients
Hmm.
because through the whole game you're given these hints about the Cetra and their importance and significance to the planet. So when you reach the place where they used to be, you sort of like, oh, okay, this is a humbling moment. I'm going to shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like,
That's true.
and the
That
city is so beautiful.
yeah, the music, like
Like
you said,
even
the
in its
city.
ruined state,
Yeah.
like you could see like the shell houses, like that very sort of shell beachy looking theme. Like even the floor tiles looked like they were made out of shards of shells or something.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful.
Yeah, whenever I get there, even because obviously I played it last month, even when every time I play that game, I always feel like this, like I want to call it an anxiety, but there's just like that deep breath, isn't there? Like
Tension.
like yeah, and yeah, and like your heart almost skips a beat almost going into it
Yeah.
because and even that's the even and like you said, even on the first time I ever played it, and just like you said, I knew something important was coming and
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
the way it builds that moment up is just it's drama perfection no matter what medium it
It
is.
really is. And because obviously I'm streaming FF7 right now, and even like a couple of streams back when I went into the City of the Ancients, I still had that very same feeling. Like I was keeping it together on stream, but in my brain, I was like, "Oh God, please don't cry."
Yeah.
That would be really embarrassing and strange if you start crying upon reaching the City of the Ancients. I was like, "Please don't do that." So I kept it together, but in my brain, I was like, "Wow, this place still has an effect on me."
Mm,
So many years later. I
yeah.
can't remember exactly how old I was when I first started playing these games. It was between sort of 13 and 15, roughly,
Hmm.
but I can't remember exactly what age.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all those years later, it still affects me.
Wow. Yeah.
It's wild.
So pick a moment from 59 and that year that means a lot to you as well.
Oh, let's see. The moment when Garnet or Dagger, whichever you prefer to call her, when she cut her hair,
Yeah.
that was a very poignant moment to me because you could really see that she was transforming as a person. Like, she goes through so much development through that game. Because at the start, she's kind of naive. She doesn't really know the world. She hasn't given a chance to know the world because she's been cooped up in that castle all the time. And, like, she's going through a lot. Her mother is completely changed from the person she used to be. She's nervous about people that she doesn't know coming to the castle and changing the way her mother thinks and acts.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's worried about the state of everything, and then she goes through the game and she gradually sees the world for what it is, and she starts changing within herself. And that moment where she cuts her hair to sort of rid herself of the person she used to be,
Hmm.
that she's matured and everything, and she just lets her hair float away. And like, I remember just looking at that FMV, that little cutscene, and I was like, wow, this is really like inspiring.
Yeah.
Like, I think at the time I actually did ask for my hair to be cut like hers
Yeah.
because she was so inspiring to me. Like, I really liked her, and I had a like bob cut hair for a while because of her. But yeah, like, I just thought that was so cool that she had such a strong conviction. She went through so much and she didn't give up on herself or her country
Mhm.
or even her friends around her. And then she cut her hair and she was like, right, that is it. I'm this person now. I've matured. I'm going to keep going as I am. I'm going to be a great queen. Like, it was just so cool.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. When I played nine and saw that moment, it didn't quite resonate with me as much as I think it has many times since.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a brilliant scene. In fact, I remember my first thoughts. I don't know if I should say this, but my first thoughts at that time when you see that scene, I think the way I don't know if it was just me, because I don't think I really heard anyone say it, but in my head when I was that age, watching that scene, I thought she was possibly going to take drastic action, dare I say, because she gets the knife and she walks off, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
same.
whoa, what's going on? And then it's a
Yeah.
very, very beautiful scene in the end, obviously,
Because
very,
you
very
see
different.
Zidane, he goes
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that, and he reaches his hand out, like, no, don't do it. And
yeah,
I was like, oh my god, is she gonna?
yeah. And
And then
no
you
one
see her
talked
just
about
cut the
that.
hair, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
The breath that I let out after I realized she
Same,
was just cutting the hair.
same.
Jeez.
But yeah, the significance of that scene, I don't think it quite hit me at that point. I was still quite young, but many times, in of
Mm,
course, yeah, I completely understand. And like you said, it's brilliant, and how artistically it's great, beautifully choreographed as
yeah,
well, and the significance, obviously, to the plot and the story and the character development. It's just yeah, excellent storytelling. It's so good.
very
Um,
much. That actually makes me think of another moment in Seven. You know, Dine
yeah. Oh
section.
God, don't. Yeah, that's
That
such
makes me think
an.
of that as well. That's dark.
It's so
That is
dark.
so dark.
I played Seven now on stream twice, right? I say it was I played it as a standalone experience, and then I played it as part of the shuffler. Whenever I get to that point in the game, every single time I clench up inside with that bit, and no
Yeah,
one talks about when everyone talks about Fantasy Seven's greatest moments, and I don't mean greatest as in woo favorite again, but in terms
yeah.
of like significant moments, that whole story that gets told, it's so dark and it's so well
Mm,
told and it's a horrible dark story, but no one talks about it, and
yeah.
I'm like, why? It's so
No, I get it.
yeah.
Like, that is a moment. Like, thinking on the spot is always difficult for me because my brain is like, and then it goes into a freeze moment and I can't think of anything. But when we both talked about the moment where we thought she was going to take drastic action, I was
Mm,
like, oh, I just realized another
yes,
moment.
100%. Like,
Yeah,
when that gets get that moment, I really hope that moment definitely makes the remake product in some capacity, and I really hope they
yeah, I
deal
hope
with
so
it.
too.
I really hope they deal
They
with it
need to include that.
100%. And I hope when or if they do, it's dealt with the care and delicacy it needs, because like that's going to be a
Yeah,
hard moment for a load of new gamers that have
yeah.
never seen it before. And I hope they don't tone it down either, because it's really dark. And they need to keep that darkness, because it's
No,
like you said, the
the
story of
point of it
Seven is so
is to
dark.
shock you.
Yes.
Like, you're supposed to be shocked and appalled and frightened by the actions taken there because Dine changed into a very twisted person. And, like, not to condemn him or anything, but obviously I don't condone his actions that he took,
No.
but he changed into a very twisted person. And I do understand why a lot of horrible things happened to him, and I can understand why he twisted into that person, but it's like the whole point is to show how Shinra affected people
Yeah.
in their lives, not just the grand scheme. It's to show the people like just the normal average workers, their families, like just the little towns that nobody would really think to care about because they're so out of the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, just that is such a poignant, powerful moment that you need to really be careful how you show it and make sure that you don't make fun of it, I suppose.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Wow. We've been speaking for Final Fantasy for about 25 minutes. Oh, we could easily do a 2 hour podcast on this, but we can't. We can't. We've got to
We
move on.
could, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about and because of the timing, let's talk about like
Yeah.
some of your favorite titles then beyond the PS1 era. So what did you
Mhm.
what consoles did you have? What are the highlighted games from that on moving onwards really?
So I moved on from that to the PlayStation 2. My mum saved all the money that she could get from work for a while so that she could give me a PlayStation 2 for Christmas, and I was just I was so grateful. I couldn't imagine a better Christmas present, honestly. And it came with Final Fantasy X. I'm trying not to go back to Final Fantasy
No,
here,
that's
but
fine.
that was the first game I got for it. And, just seeing the upgrade in graphics
Yeah,
and Oh, I don't know. It was just amazing. Like I was so happy. But the next game I got was Star Ocean 3 Till the End
Okay.
of Time. It's a slightly lesser known RPG series. Like it's a bit more niche, I find. Like it's found a bit more grounding lately, I find, because people are starting to realize it exists a bit more these days,
Yeah.
thanks to the internet and everything. But back then, I didn't know anybody who had played it. Nobody knew what it was. I was the only one in my area that even had any inkling of what this game was. But it was so cool because I have to admit, I'm a Star Trek fan. I'm a Trekkie. And I saw the opening of Star Ocean. And I was like, oh my god, this is like watching anime Star Trek.
Mm.
It was so epic. Like, you saw this, like, space and, like, the planet Earth and spaceships all over the place. And just, wow, it was so cool. Like, it looked amazing on the PS2. And because I was really getting into anime by that time, like I was super, super into it. So the character designs just spoke to me. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
it's two things I love, Star Trek and anime. Let's go.
Ah, excellent. No, and I think aren't they like remaking or remastering one of the earlier titles recently? I think I heard an announcement about that, haven't they?
Yes, they
Yeah,
are. Star Ocean 2 Second Story.
yeah, yeah. I didn't play much of the Star Ocean. I remember I had a friend that did play the second one, I think it was.
Yeah.
Um, and she tried to get me into it, and I just couldn't quite get into it. I think it was I kept hearing and seeing that it was just like so story driven. Like there was not much
Yeah.
comparative, like the balance was so shifted so differently to Final Fantasy in terms of like story versus action, you know, type of thing.
Yeah, I
Um,
get that. Yeah.
so, but I need to go back to them because they are apparently some of the best stories in JRPG, you know,
Yeah,
history.
they're
So
really, really good. I do
yeah.
recommend them if you want to get into that. If you like space and anime aesthetic and RPGs, like action RPGs especially, like go for it.
Mm,
It's
mm.
so good.
Okay, so yeah, so PlayStation 2, where from there? Did you, what are your favourite titles in the last like 10 years or so then?
Ooh, in the last 10 years, oh god, now I have to think of games that were released in the last 10
Doesn't have to be accurate in
My
10 years,
memory
but
of
yeah.
games is like a little bit skewed. I can never remember what was released when. It's like that moment where someone says, "Oh, X game was released like 25 years ago," and you're like,
Oh,
"No, it
no.
was not. It was released like 5 years ago. Shut up."
Yes, yes. Enough of that nonsense.
That's how I feel about games, honestly.
Oh, man.
Um, like from the PS2, there was very much a lull. I didn't really have anything for a very long time. The most I had was a little Game Boy Color, and with that, I found Pokemon,
Ah, nice. Yes.
like most kids did. Yeah, my first Pokemon game was Pokemon Yellow. Instead of red or blue like most kids had, my first was the third in the line, Yellow. And I don't know, I was just really happy when I was playing it because I could just snuggle up in bed. I didn't have to look at the TV. I could just kind of hide under my duvet in the middle of the night. I could have like, I got my tiny little desk lamp and I shone it into the duvet tent thing that I had makeshifted. And
Oh,
I would just sit there
genius.
pointing the Game Boy at the light. Yeah, I made do. I was very much like make do with what you've got kind of
Mm.
kid. Like I would come up with ideas as to how to make things work. So I had my little duvet tent. I had my little desk lamp pointed inside it so no one could see that I had a light on in my room.
I'm getting like
I had
serious
my
and unfortunate
earphones.
events kind of vibes from this story. You know, when the beginning of the stories. I won't spoil that, obviously, but if you've seen it or read it, I'm
Yes,
sure you know
yes,
what I
I
mean.
have. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm getting very serious
yeah,
vibes, and I mean that in a compliment way,
yeah.
of
I know what
course.
you mean.
Make
That
do with what
story
you
is
got.
so strange, but it's so good. It
Yeah. Oh, nice. So,
was just, it was fun.
what was your team then? What, or do you, if you remember, what were your favorite Pokemon?
Ghost Pokemon.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Not that there were many in like in the first generation. Like there wasn't that many ghost Pokemon. You had like your ghastly haunted Gengar, but there wasn't really much going on there. But I think my team was like a Gengar, Pikachu, obviously because it was your starter at the time. Lapras, Dragonite. Um, what else was there? I think a Charizard,
Mm,
and I can't think of the final one. I can only remember those five.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what the final one was, but
But yeah, Pokemon Yellow, you could get
yeah.
Pikachu, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, couldn't you? You could get
Mm,
all four. So
yeah, I think so.
yeah, I think it was quite unique in that respect. And it was based more on the anime, wasn't it? It was like a Team Rocket, I think Jesse and James were in it
Yeah,
as well, if I remember
yeah,
correctly.
yeah, they were.
Yeah. No, I never did play Yellow. I played Blue and Red, but my sister had Yellow, and she was telling me the
Yeah.
differences. So we were both watching the anime as kids and stuff as well. So yeah, it was
Mm,
relatable. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. For me, like I always had the third of every generation. It was always like yellow, crystal.
Yeah.
It was always the third in every generation that I got. Don't know why. It just happened to be that way.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing though, isn't it? It's just the upgrade, isn't it? So yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, did yeah, good stuff. Okay, so okay, well yeah, you mentioned Fantasy Seven, but what are you currently playing right now? And when we say that, I mean, do you play much offline compared to online? What's the like ratio wise, and are you playing anything offline as also and on stream? What's the plans at the moment?
Yeah, so I was just playing 16, which I have now completed. Amazing game, top tier. No spoilers, just go play it. It's worth it. But yeah, I just finished 16. I'm still kind of trying to look for that next game that I want to play because I don't want to replay a Final Fantasy because I'm already going to play 7 and then 8 on stream, so I feel like I'll overload myself a little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of looking for that next game to play still. I'm not sure what I want to do. I do have Fatal Frame 4 to go back to,
Okay. Yeah.
but yeah, I might go back to that soon because I do need to complete it. I kind of left off when 16 came out because I was like, ah, 16, I have to play this.
Yeah. I would imagine. But do you play many games offline? Do you have time? Again, streaming. Sometimes we don't have the
Yeah,
time.
I always have something that I'm playing offline, usually. But if I'm not playing something, I'm usually drawing or just like 14. I guess I could say 14 I play offline.
Mm,
But that's more a very ongoing thing. Like it's not like a play to completion kind of game. It's just an ongoing thing that I dive in and out of every so often.
yeah.
But yeah.
Nice. So, do you collect any like video game collectibles? Is that something that you do? And if so,
Yes.
what your favorite stuff that you've collected over the years?
Yeah, I because when I was younger, like I didn't have the money to collect anything cool really. It only started when I was actually an adult. Like sort of late 20s, mid 30s kind of, like up to now basically. And I collect as many Final Fantasy collectibles as I can. Like whenever there's a collector's edition, I'm going for it
Yeah.
if possible. I have the 16 collector's edition, so I have my Phoenix and Ifrit statue up there,
Oh,
or
nice.
Ifrit, however you say it. I have my Square Enix cabinet, as I call it, because it's just filled with Square Enix figures, like the play arts, so a couple of master creatures. So I have Yojimbo and Shiva.
Oh, that's so cool.
Um, I have FF12, the Zodiac Age version.
Yes.
Um, that came with a bunch of judge statuettes, all the judges in 12,
Yeah.
and they came as these little sort of mini statuettes. So I have all of those like dotted throughout. Kingdom Hearts as well. I have Kingdom Hearts stuff, like figures of that as well. Yeah, just tons of Square Enix collectibles. I'm trying to think of what else I have off the top of my head. I have things dotted all over the place. Nino Kuni 2, Persona, Undertale,
Oh, nice.
Shin Megami Tensei. I do like a
Nice.
Shin Megami Tensei game.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Persona. When you mentioned Pokemon, you were saying you had like the third of each entry. Like, was that something that you did
Mm.
with How much Persona have you played, and did you do that with those games as well? Because
I've played all the Persona games.
yeah,
Even the first one, which is a little bit, ooh. But yeah, I played 4 first, 3, 1, 2, 5. I did it in a really weird order. But it's fine because it doesn't matter. Each story is its own anyway, like Final Fantasy, so it doesn't matter where you come into it. But yeah. I think my favorite is definitely 4 because it was my first one, and it has like a very refreshing vibe to it. Like, even though it's a sort of murder mystery type story, it's got this very refreshing summer holidays vibe going on. Because like when you're not in the sort of serious moments where you're trying to sort of work out who the murderer is and like going to dungeons and stuff, you have like your social links, you have your like event stuff, like the summer holidays, like going to the beach or, you know, school trips, stuff like that. And all those funny moments. Like, Persona's really good at balancing serious and humor.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it always sort of calms things down a bit after like a really serious moment. It starts giving you like some more light-hearted moments to sort of bring the tone out a little bit of the serious section.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I've only played 3, 4, and 5, but I've not beaten any of them yet. I got like about halfway probably through 4 and 5, and I've started playing Free's my offline game at the moment. The remaster that's just come out. Then before they announced the remake of it, of course, I'm like, what? Okay,
I can't wait. I can't wait for that. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's great, but it's just like, why now? I've just bought
Yeah,
this
like I'm
item.
right in the middle of playing it. Could you? Why could you have announced this sooner before I started?
If I would have known, I would have just got not bothered, and I just got the remake.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, I've not beaten them yet, but they're so good. The music's so good. It's so everything.
Oh yeah,
It's really,
it's so
really well
unique. Like, it's another one of those things where you can tell that's Persona music because it just has that vibe.
good.
Shoji Meguro is really, really good at getting that perfect sort of school holidays atmosphere with music, or just school days atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like, there's quite a few tracks in Persona 4 that just give me that school, like, holidays kind of vibe, and yeah, it's so good. And then when you play 3 and you have like the random like rap sort of sections in certain songs, and it's like, it's just so good.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that when I played 3. I was like, oh, it's like proper early noughties R&B. This, isn't it?
yeah, because Meguro usually works with Lotus Juice, the rap artist. Like, he usually does all of the like the rap sections or whatever sort of vocals that are necessary in songs. Like, he usually does that, unless obviously there's female ones as well, but he usually does a lot of that in Persona, which I really like his music, honestly. He's so cool.
Nice. So let's talk about streaming then. So what was how long have you been streaming for? Actually, because I've never actually asked you that question. And what were the moments that led for you to having that decision of, well, you know what, I'm going to go stream, and then obviously hitting live? Talk us through that.
So I've been streaming roughly for 2 years, I think. Pretty much 2 years. Not very long. It sort of kind of started when I first came into Twitch, because when I first arrived in Twitch and started watching people, I got kind of unlucky with the communities that I was first sort of watching and stuff, because they were quite rude, especially if they realize you're a female presenting person. If they see you like that, they kind of get a bit like, I don't know, they make fun of you. They think you're not smart, that you can't play a game and stuff like that. And there was a lot of that going on, and then people would just talk down to you a lot in certain communities. Like, I don't even remember which communities they were because it was so long ago. Like, this was when I first even looked at Twitch, and that's many years ago now. But the first person that made me feel like I belonged on Twitch was a streamer called Dave Stereo. And he used to do FF7 speedrunning. And when I came into his stream, and I was very shy, I was very timid, I was very scared that I would get like laughed out of the room again. But he was so welcoming Like he was very, very nice. Like he didn't care if you asked what like a question that might have been seen as stupid to people who knew everything. Like he liked to explain things to you if you asked a question. He was like very chatty, very happy, very sort of he just liked to have a good time, and I loved that vibe so much, and I found it so cool that he spent his time making friends and playing video games basically for a living at the time.
Hmm.
And I just thought that was amazing. Like he had so many people chatting to him, like he was able to make friends very easily. Like he has a very sort of open, welcoming personality. And like he did music as well. Like sometimes he would play video game music on drums,
Okay, wow.
which I found really, really cool. Yeah, it was so cool. And I don't know, he was just so welcoming, and it made me really start to consider, wow, this would be so fun to do because I love video games. And I love making friends with other people who like the same sort of games as me, like RPGs, sometimes cozy games, or like Japanese horror games, which is my weird little niche section that I'm into. And like, yeah, but my brain was constantly telling me, no, you can't do that. Like, you're not cool enough to be a streamer. Come on, like, you can't do that. And for a long time, I just kept considering it and considering it. And then one day I was like, I know other people who stream. I have friends who are streamers, and they're just normal people.
Yeah.
Like, they're just, like, not meaning that in a rude way. I just mean, like, they're
No.
normal people. Like, they're everyday people that I speak to and interact with. Why is it that they can stream and they're the cool people in my eyes, but I can't stream and also be cool? Like, why? Why is that? And I still don't think myself cool as but I broke a small barrier in just saying, well, if they can stream, why can't I? Like, what is stopping me? Really, it's myself that's stopping me at the end of the day, and that's not a good thing to do. And during this point, I was having therapy, like for some things that I was like suppressing too much, and I was sort of having therapy for that at the time, and we were going over a lot of things to do with like my confidence and things I needed to work on and like putting myself out there a bit more, and that was what led me to start streaming. So yeah, I started with art streams because I wasn't confident enough yet to go video game streaming, but I wasn't having so much fun with art streams because I felt a bit like people don't speak so much in art streams. They're a bit more they prefer to lurk and they just like to watch. So that sort of made me think, maybe this isn't for me. I don't have the personality to keep talking constantly right now. Like, I don't have the experience to keep it going and not make it seem a bit boring. So I shifted to video games and I just never looked back. I had so much more fun. I can't remember what the very first game was. I think it might have been Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
I think. If I remember correctly, I think it was 10. But yeah, I had so much fun. I had a really good time.
That's good. And have you learned to perhaps accept that you are that cool person to certain people now? Is that something, because you are cool, Curaga? I'm sorry, you are. Yeah, is that still a journey for you? Where are you on that path, do you think?
It's still a journey. I accept that other people may feel that way, and I accept that. I can't think of myself that way yet, but I will accept that other people feel that way, and I think that's a nice sort of halfway point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think
it's a halfway point. I accept that certain people may feel that way potentially, but I'm not like, oh yeah, I'm cool now.
I'm the coolest in the room.
Yeah.
No. I think that's a nice balanced way to looking at it. Yeah, for sure. No. So okay, so what are your favourite streaming memories? So streaming for 2 years. What are some of your favourite moments then over that period of time where you've been streaming? Is there any particular games that you played or any particular interactions with your community that you love? Talk us through some of those moments.
Yeah. There was a moment I was playing a Fatal Frame game, Fatal Frame 5, Maiden of Blackwater, and That was the first time I dressed up in a costume for stream because it was a Halloween theme.
Oh,
Like
cool.
it was quite close to Halloween. I dressed up as a Fatal Frame style ghost, so I had like a white dress. I had like this sort of smudged out like black makeup. I drew like tears on my face, like black tears to kind of look more spooky and everything. And yeah, that was really fun. And people were desperately trying to make me jump because they knew that I'm a complete, like, I have a very funny relationship with horror
Okay.
because I don't like anything that is gross or gory. So I don't like, guts and things everywhere. Like, that's disgusting to me. I'm more of a psychological horror or ghost, like that kind of thing, like spirits and ghosts and like that kind of thing. And but I'm a complete wuss.
Okay. Yeah.
I am a wuss. People can make me jump simply by coming up behind me and tapping me on the shoulder, and I'm like, ugh. I I often got compared by my husband's family. They often call me that character from, I don't know if you know Catherine Tate's show.
Oh, bits of it.
Not
Yeah.
many people might know it, yeah, but that lady who was made jump by everything, like
Okay.
every tiny noise, yeah, they often compare me to her because that is me. I would get jump scared by a toaster popping up.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was that bad. And me playing a horror game is a very finicky thing because half the time I'm just terrified and like, but I'm also having fun because I like spooky things,
Yeah.
like especially like Japanese horror.
Mm.
I have a really big love for Japanese horror because they have such interesting stories. And they don't just rely on like guts and blood and stuff like that. They
Yeah.
have more sort of psychological styles. So yeah, I was playing Maiden of Blackwater and people were using sound bites to try and make me jump at pivotal moments. Like when there was a slow build up to a jump scare, people would suddenly play a loud sound, and I was like, ah!
Oh god.
They were throwing bits and getting like loud sounds to play, and it was so funny. Like they were so mean to me, but it was really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I don't know, like I think a very recent favorite moment for me was actually the other day.
Okay.
Funnily
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, it was yesterday. Um I was playing FF7 and it was like at the point where you just got the sort of like call it upgraded high wind where he throws off the certain parts of the airship, I don't know what they're
Yeah,
called, but then
yeah.
the ship gets a bit faster.
Yes.
And you're ready to go to North Cave and everything. But I was like, okay, I don't want the experience to be over just yet. I'm going to do some side stuff. Like, I want to sort of get to a point where I can beat the weapons, like, get some side materia, get Omni Slash, like, that kind of thing. So I started with Chocobo breeding.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yes. Go on.
And it got to the part where you needed a green and a blue chocobo to make
Yeah.
the black chocobo. And I had a blue female chocobo, so I was aiming for a green male. And I don't know why, but the RNG was not in my favor.
Oh, yeah.
And I was constantly getting green female. And I named the first chocobo, the blue one, after one of my like friend and sister-in-law. Like she was my friend first but then became my sister-in-law, so like she's sort of both to me, and I named it after her. And so we kept kind of laughing like, oh, Stacy, you need to breed, we need you to breed, stop.
Oh no.
And she was like, no, I want females. I was like, no, I need you to have a male. And like I was getting such bad RNG and everyone was just cracking up, and we were coming up with all these
Calm down,
we were coming up with all these theories as to like what could change my RNG. So we put all males in the party to manifest male energy. we went
Oh,
to Badil because it's all green to get the green vibe.
oh man,
It
yeah.
was just I was getting such horrible luck, and I was like literally screeching, like, "Why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Why is there always a green female?" And then one of my mods came in with a fix for it, and apparently I just had to go in and out of the stables a certain amount of times to move the RNG seed forward,
I heard
so it would
about
do
something
something
like that. Yeah.
different. Yeah.
Yeah. I never knew about it.
So
But yeah, for years I didn't know about it. But yeah.
I
Oh,
didn't know either, and then I finally got my green mail.
yay. No,
But yeah,
I totally
it was
relate to
so
that.
stupid.
But
It
I did the same thing a couple of years ago when I faced Final Fantasy 7 on my
oh
stream,
no.
and I wanted the blue mail, and
Oh,
yeah, we had bad RNG. I didn't know about that trick with the
my
going in and out.
condolences.
Yeah, yeah. There's a clip of me. There's a clip of me on my stream, of me manifesting. I'm going, think male, think blue penis on a bird. I'm like,
Yeah.
no. What am I saying? No. And I'm like, no, no, no. There's a clip of me saying it. I'm like, no. Why did I say it? So yeah,
Oh no.
relatable.
Yeah, you get desperate at one point. You're like, there
Yeah.
must be something. If I just put all men in my party and go to Mediel because it's green, this will manifest the right energy for me.
Oh
It
god.
doesn't work.
No, no.
It doesn't
Oh man. Oh man. Okay.
work.
Okay. Right. So I've got another question. I've got a new feature on this season, Curaga, where I ask a previous
Mhm.
guest to ask a future guest a question. They don't know who it's going to, and obviously, when we
Mm.
finish up today, I'll ask you a question for a future guest. So this question has been asked by someone else. They didn't know it was you. So the question is: have you ever, or would you ever, consider dabbling in YouTube? And if so, what type of content would you do?
Yeah, so it's something I've been thinking about for a long time. My only failing is that I do not know how to edit.
Oh
I
yes.
have never edited a video in my whole life. I do not know how it's done. I'm very intimidated by it. But if I were to magically understand it one day, I would either like to do art videos, like sort of a time lapse of like something I'm drawing, maybe like Final Fantasy themed art videos, or like sleepy time let's plays where I play through a game and I just kind of do it in a very cozy, sort of calm way, like very gently narrating the dialogue, make it very sort of soft and chill. So people, because I'm one of those people who has tinnitus and I can't sleep without some kind of background noise. I
Okay.
need something in the background. So what I often go to is a playthrough of a game that I know really well, like a Final Fantasy or something. And I often find that if the person has a really calming voice, it kind of helps me to sleep a little better. So I think like it's nice to have playthroughs like that for people who, do suffer with like poor sleep for some reason, like tinnitus or insomnia or anxiety, whatever it may be. So yeah, I think that would be interesting to do.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah, I'd love to see that happen. If it obviously if you feel brave to do it, because it's like you said,
Yeah.
it's a massive task, isn't it? It's another social
Yeah,
media app.
definitely.
Oh no, so as well.
Mm,
So okay,
yeah.
so I would like to ask two more questions if I can, but I'm looking at the clock as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
let's try and go for it. So
Yeah.
if you were stuck on a remote island, and on that island you can only bring with you 3 games, and you're stuck on that island forever. Never
Yeah.
to return. I'm sorry, but you can like do DLCs. You can play online and stuff like that. So there's that as well. What would
Okay.
those 3 games be, and why?
Final Fantasy 14, because that is the game that keeps on giving. Final Fantasy 8, and hmm, Animal Crossing, New
Nice.
Horizons specifically, because
Yeah.
that is also a game that keeps on giving. Because there's always something new that you can do when building an island. So like your creativity is endless. So
Yeah.
you can just keep thinking of new ideas. So like yeah, a game I love, like a nostalgia game, a game that just keeps on giving you stuff. And yeah, a creative game.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great idea as well. It'd be a bit weird if you went on from one island to another though, and you saw your island on the
Yeah.
island. You're like, what? What's this?
Yeah.
It's islandception going on. But no,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's a good set of games as well. Fantastic. And yeah,
Mm.
they'll keep you going for a while as well. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
And you can
definitely.
start doing different challenges with it as well. If you get a bit bored of the main story, you start, okay, right, I'm going to speedrun
Yeah,
this one.
exactly.
I'm going to do
Yeah.
a no GF challenge or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no junction.
Oh man, yeah. Okay, final question then, Curaga. So, um,
Mhm.
is there any advice you'd like to think about giving to anyone that is thinking about picking up streaming at all? What advice would you give anyone listening?
So, I would say don't worry about having all the best equipment the second you start. Because the worst thing you can do is, if you want to try streaming, the worst thing you can do is buy a ton of expensive equipment. Then you think, oh, actually, this isn't for me. You've just wasted a ton of money. So don't buy all the best equipment to start with. Just use what you can. Get like cheap stuff at first if you want to, but like, yeah, don't invest until you are certain that streaming is for you. Learn to talk to yourself, because when you first start streaming, you'll probably be streaming to 0 to 3 people at the most, and it will be like that for a while, unless you are lucky to have connections to other streamers who can bring an audience to you. So get used to talking to yourself. Just talk about anything. It can be what you've done in your day, it can be about the game that you're playing, or like plans for future streams, stuff like that. Just anything that could possibly coax someone to, speak up and say hi. Yeah, apart from that, just be yourself. Like, don't put on an act when you're streaming. Like, obviously, to an extent, you kind of have to put out a certain energy when
Yeah,
you're streaming. You need to sort of output that good energy to keep people wanting to stay there. But don't pretend to be someone you're not, because that'll just get tiring, to be honest. It's tiring. And like, if you're a calm, quiet person, be a calm, quiet person. Like, if you're a loud person, be loud. Like, just be your natural self. Don't feel like you have to be exactly like one of the top streamers. Like, you don't have to force yourself to be super loud and obnoxious or like crazy or anything like that. Just be who you are, because that is what people will love the most in the end.
100%. Yeah, that's some great advice. Completely agree. And yeah, I like what you said there about get used to talking to yourself. I mean, I've obviously had a lot of guests on the show, and
Mm.
they've said similar things in terms of get used to having 0 to 3 people maybe to talk to. But I like the way you put it in terms of getting used to talking to yourself, because you do, and it's not something that
Yeah,
everyone can do. It's a really hard
no,
thing
it's
to do,
not.
and to get used to it as well. And because yeah, but it's great advice, great stuff, great stuff. Thank you. Curaga, I'm out of questions. Thank you so much. Just one more time, do you want to tell us where we can find you on your socials? Obviously, we got a picture there, but yeah, do you want to? Where can we find you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same on all grounds. I have Twitter, I have just recently made a Threads account, and like on Twitch. All of it is just Curaga with 3 underscores, because Cure 3. 3 underscores, but
Ah,
yeah.
that's one thing I didn't quite get to is ask where do you get the name from? Cure 3. Ah, love
Yeah.
it. I
It's
love
like a
it.
little nod to FF7 and below, like the older Final Fantasies, while also speaking for the newer Final Fantasies. So Cure
Love
3
it.
and Curaga in one.
Love it. Oh, brilliant. Love it. Love it. Excellent. Curaga, Cure Free. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been a joy. So
Of
thank you.
course. Thank you so
Appreciate
much
it.
for having me. It's been really fun.
Oh no, it's a pleasure. Pleasure's mine. Thank you. Right, everyone, take care. And until the next time. Bye bye.
Bye.